are creating some high-end blue and white fall decor. I'm also going to take you step by step and show you how I styled my fireplace mantle. My mantle is completely finished, but since I'm going to take you step by step, we've got to clear everything off. So let's take all of these things off. We're going to go from here to right here. Now we have a blank slate to start off with. Now I think we should start off with our pumpkins. Now I got this white pumpkin, this cream white pumpkin, oh, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago at my thrift store. I love the size of this pumpkin and the shape, the color. There's so many positive things about this pumpkin. One thing that I did not love was the stem. The stem is brown and it definitely needs to be jazzed up. The accent color to my blue and white display is going to be gold. So we're gonna change the stem to gold. And we're gonna do it with some rub and buff. I got a tissue, I added a little bit of the rub and buff to the tissue, and then I put it all over the stem. I covered up the original brown color with the gold rub and buff, and it already looks so much more expensive. The gold takes this pumpkin to the next level. Now that we have changed the stem on our gold thrifted pumpkin, we are going to move on to these velvet plush pumpkins. Now I used these pumpkins last week in my foyer display. I purchased them at Hobby Lobby. I liked them so much. I went back and I got 2 more, and luckily they were still on sale. They were 40% off. So I picked up 2 more so I could have some coordinating pumpkins for my mantle. Again, the stem was too green. It's an easy fix. Again, I just got out that gold rub and buff and a tissue. I covered the pumpkin stems in the rub and buff. Once the first pumpkin was finished, I moved on to the second pumpkin and I did the exact same thing. I love how this rub and buff transforms these pumpkins. One nice thing about the rub and buff is that you don't have to wait for it to dry. It dries immediately, so we are finished with these stems, a lickety split, and I just love the way that they turned out. My video today is part of my monthly collaboration with this wonderful group of talented ladies. Our theme this month is a fall, so we are going to be creating some fall DIYs. The host of this collaboration is Liyana from Liyana DIY. I will leave a link to this playlist in my description box as well as my pinned comment. I will also leave a link to Liyana's channel, so head on over and check out all of the amazing pieces that these ladies created. Now that we're completed with our stems, we are going to move on to some more pretty embellishments. Now I picked up these sparkling shapes, that's what they're called, at Tuesday morning. I got 2 packages. They were only $2.49. I wasn't in love with the color scheme of these little sparkling shapes, but that's okay. That's a super easy fix. So what I want to use out of these shapes are just the leaves. So I took my leaves outside, I put them on some cardboard, and I'm going to spray paint them in some gold Rustoleum spray paint. I sprayed the first side in the gold spray paint. I made sure that the leaves were completely covered in the paint. I got the sides of the leaves as well, and once they were completely coated, I let them dry for 1 hour. I came back, I flipped all of the leaves over, and I spray painted the top side. I made sure that everything was completely covered in the paint, and then I let these leaves dry for another hour. Super easy fix, but look at how classy these leaves are. These are going to be such a beautiful addition to my display. They're small, subtle, but they are going to be so impactful. Since we're doing a blue and white display, I wanted to make sure that we had enough blue. So I'm gonna incorporate some more blue in the form of some ribbons. I purchased this royal blue ribbon at the Dollar Tree. It's the perfect shade of blue, and I love the satin sheen. I tied this blue ribbon into a bow, and then I cut the tails straight across. Then I took one of my gold leaves. I added some hot glue to the top stem portion of the leaf, and then I pressed it right onto the end of the ribbon. Then I did the exact same thing on the other side of the ribbon. I took a leaf, I added the hot glue to the top portion of the leaf, and then I pressed it onto the end of the ribbon. I love the embellishment of these gold leaves. They are so subtle, and it's a perfect touch that elevates the look of these ribbons. Now, when I made over my pumpkins in my last video for my foyer, I used some trim that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I secured it to my pumpkins with some corsage pins. Well, we're gonna use some corsage pins again today. I took my corsage pin and I pressed it through the center knot on my ribbon, and then I poked it straight into the top of the pumpkin at the base of the stem. And that's it. Look at how fantastic this looks. It was so easy to do. All we did is we changed the color of the stem, we added the ribbon, and then we put these pretty little gold leaves on the end of the tails. Easy, simple, but wow, it really jazzed up this pumpkin. It makes it look so much more custom, and I just am thrilled with the way that it looks. Now we're going to move on to our tall mercury glass candlesticks. I got these candlesticks a few years ago at Home Goods. They are so pretty, and I love using them as often as I can because they are so tall and they make a fantastic statement. To customize these candlesticks into our fall season, we are going to be doing the same thing as we did on our pumpkin. So I took a segment of this ribbon, and again, I added some hot glue to the top portion of the gold leaf, and then I pressed it straight onto the end of the ribbon. Once all my leaves were on the tails of my ribbons, I simply just wrapped this ribbon around the neck of the candlestick, and I tied it into a bow. You don't have to make a huge effort to customize pieces that you already have at home into seasonal pieces. This is a great example of how I took something that I have, and by adding a small embellishment to it, it now customized it color-wise and seasonally. Now that the majority of our DIYs are completed, we are going to start decorating our mantle. We're gonna start off with a garland. I purchased this gold magnolia garland last year at Michael's. After Christmas, it was 70% off, so I think I paid like $6 for this. I picked up a couple of them, and as you can see, it has like a little ring at the ends, on both ends. So I have a screw on either end of my fireplace. Now I had to screw in a screw because my Christmas garlands are really heavy, and in the past they pulled off the command hooks, so I had to make a permanent solution. So I do have screws. So I'm gonna take this and I'm going to put it right there on this one, on the right-hand side, and then I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put it right over there on the left-hand side. And then I'm gonna take the center. In the center, I have a command hook, and I'm going to just bring it right up to the command hook. Okay, so our garland is in place. Next, we're gonna move on to our pumpkins. We're gonna get our big one first. Thanks. So we have our big pumpkin, and we're gonna put it right in the center. Okay, next I have some blue plush pumpkins. I purchased these last year at Home Goods. These are so pretty, and they're perfect for our color scheme. They're gonna go on either side of my white pumpkin. All right, next we're gonna put our large candlesticks on either side. Up next, we're gonna put our cream colored pumpkins right in between the blue pumpkin and our candlestick. Just gonna put those on either side. Now that our big pieces are in place, we're gonna go through and we're just gonna make it feel lush and full by adding some extra leaves. Now I did buy 2 of these magnolia garlands, and what I'm gonna do with the second garland is I'm just gonna pull the leaves right off the garland portion. So now I have all these leaves and I'm just gonna fill in the garland to make it feel bountiful. We have one final DIY that we're going to do. Again, it involves those gold mini leaves. I wanted them to hang from my garland, and I wanted to do it in a mysterious way. So we're gonna use some fishing line. I cut a segment of fishing line and I added some hot glue to the back of the leaves. I put that fishing line right in the hot glue and I let it dry. Now I'm going to attach my gold fishing line leaves to my garland. It's super simple. All I'm gonna do is just tie it around one of the leaves on the garland. And once I'm done, I'm just gonna take a pair of scissors and snip off the excess fishing line. My final addition is to add these antler picks. I'm just gonna put them in between the pumpkins. I'm just gonna lay them right in. It will hold it in place, it'll stay in place. Just nestle it in different places throughout the mantelscape. And I really love the way that the antlers, because they're so rustic and everything else is pretty pristine, it adds that fall element. And again, the white antlers are perfect because it goes along with our blue and white color scheme. All right, you guys, I think that we are finished, and I absolutely love the way that this mantelscape turned out. The pumpkins are so pretty, especially with the newly updated stems and the ribbon. The gold garland is just such a pretty touch, especially with these little leaves that are just hovering magically. They look like leaves just falling off of trees, blowing in the wind. I just love the way that they look. The candlesticks are so perfect. On top, I have some battery operated candles that will turn on every night to give this space a nice warm glow. Another thing that I really like is that this display is not over the top. It's very subtle and it's very neutral. I love the timeless blue and white color scheme. And another reason why I chose this color scheme is because I already have out my blue and white ginger jars, and I have some white floral arrangements, so everything coordinates beautifully together. All of these pieces were easy and affordable to create, and yet my mantle looks high-end and expensive. Hopefully you got some fall decorating ideas today. If you want some more fall decorating ideas, I have an entire playlist for you, so I will leave a link for that playlist in my description box so you can click on that and check out a whole bunch of other fall decorating ideas. Well, I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much for watching.